Peace, blessings, and abundance, my loves. I had to change my beginning because my higher self, when I got up this AM, literally when I woke up, the first thing that hit my mind was hello is hell no. And so my higher self was telling me not really to use that anymore. I mean, not that my intentions were to tell people hell no. However, once you know better, you do better. So instead, I'll just send peace, bliss, blessings. I like to say blessings and abundance to you all. Today, I want to talk about parts of astrology that play a major role in who we are. Even though we know that astrology is a basis, it's like a blueprint for how this particular life, how it plays out in our childhood and our adulthood until we basically transition and transform to the next existence that will be. Whether it be for some of us coming back and repeating this, or whether it be moving up to another type of being in this plane. So, I kind of really got inspired to talk about this because once I got the Moldavite stone, when I tell you, like, I started going through some things. That's why I really haven't recorded, because I started feeling like some type of way, like feeling all these emotions and things, like I was dealing with some things that I actually thought I had moved past. So it showed me that there were still some things buried beneath the surface in myself that I needed to heal in order to get to the place that I want to be and that I need to be in order to get all the things that I've been working for in my spiritual journey. So I'm going to jump into it. Again, it's called parts of astrology that play a major role in who we are. So this will be the first one, and then the second one I'm going to talk about just some crystals that can actually aid and help you with healing your inner self, your inner child, and overcoming some of the things that you have been holding on to and that we repress. So first I want to start off with, because I know that astrology it's not the end all be all, and in this journey we are supposed to learn how to be more of the Christ consciousness, which is basically being that number 13, being that one that exceeds the 12 disciplines of that wheel of those houses that we go through. And the reason why, and it's basically, the houses represent a repeating cycle, a repeating cycle of reincarnation that we keep going through. And so what the astrology gives you is the blueprint, so you can see the thing where you are placed in this particular time or lifeline, and it is telling you the things that you need to work on, the things you need to take to build yourself up in the journey, and the things that you're supposed to work on that to get rid of that you've been carrying on lifeline after lifeline after lifeline. So that, to me, that is my definition of what astrology is. It's not for you to live in it and be like, oh, I'm like how I'm a sun. My sun sign is Sagittarius and my moon sign is Libra. It's not for me to live in that and to be happy and to celebrate it. It's for me to look at the characteristics that come with those particular signs and see the things that I need to keep and the things that I need to go ahead and just transmute into something else, so that I can be who I am designed and I am put on this existence, why I'm still in this existence in the first place, so that I can elevate to the next level. And the thing that I've learned so much through this whole journey is that, I'm learning why I am the way I am. That's what astrology honestly helps you do. And as I get into this, I'm going to talk about some of my astrological traits with this as well, because it's some things that I'm working on, because it can basically it can push some people away. However, it can also make some people just like try to draw you, like, get over here, like, Scorpion. I think his name was Scorpion in Mortal Kombat. So people actually feed off your energy and want the type of energy that I bring. So it's really according to the person. But yeah, I say a lot. Is the word is the beginning and who we are. So it's interesting that I noticed that I say that a lot. I got 444 too when I was saying that. Anywho's, I have been reading this book. It is called Autobiography of a Yogi. I have a bit of a glare in there, so I hope you can see it. This book book is really, 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 really good. I read like over 100 pages yesterday. However, it has like 500 some pages in it, and I'm about to get on chapter 21. However, I want to take a excerpt out of here where I was just talking about how we're not supposed to get so bogged down in astrology that we think it's the end all be all. However, it is a tool to aid us in our journey so that we can learn more about ourselves, because astrology teaches you way more about yourself than a Bible or Quran or any other religious book that you can utilize. It actually helps you delve into yourself, your inner self, and your soul, in order for you to aid you in achieving your soul's purpose, your divine purpose on this planet. All right. I went to my grandmother's house today, my mother's mother, and I was literally, she has this bookshelf right when you first walk into the house, and I was looking at some of the pictures because I noticed that it got cleaned up, and she had told me last time that my aunt, one of her daughters that lives with her, that she had cleaned out the house and did some redecorating or whatever. However, this particular picture right here was like to the side like this, so it wasn't very visible. It wasn't in a picture frame or anything big. However, it caught my eye. So since it caught my eye, I picked it up, and when I picked it up, I noticed it was a picture of me and two of my sisters, the younger sisters, and then one of my cousins. And it was amazing, like how I felt that energy to pick up this picture. And I actually utilized this picture to meditate on, in this little girl, my little inner child, my inner self, and who I was, and just look at myself. I have on this blue and white dress. I'm actually going to post it to my Instagram, Knowledge Butterfly, so you can check out the actual picture on there. But I used it as like a little bookmark right here. Okay. In this chapter, this is chapter 16. I'm not really going to get too much into the book because I think you all should read it when you get a chance. But in this particular chapter, the yogi's master at the time is telling him he needs to get this this bangle, which is it's an astrological bangle, and it's supposed to aid in keeping your body healthy and things like that. And the master, I'm going to say what his master was telling him. He said, God is harmony. The devotee who attunes himself will never perform any action amiss. His activities will be correctly and naturally timed to accord with astrological law. After deep prayer and meditation, he is in touch with his divine consciousness. There is no greater power than that inward protection. So then he replies to his master, then, dear master, why do you want me to wear an astrological bangle? I ventured this question after a long silence. I had tried to assimilate Sri Yukteswar's, I think that's how you pronounce his name, noble exposition, which contained thoughts very new to me. His master replied, it is only when a traveler has reached his goal that he is justified in discarding his maps. During the journey, he takes advantage of any convenient shortcut. So, I wanted to say that because that's basically what astrology is, and a lot of the sacred sciences, they are shortcuts for us to in order to aid us in our journey so that we can actually cut through. Instead of taking the long route, we can get some cut throughs to get to the eventual place that we are going to land. So now, after saying all that and spending almost 10 minutes talking about that, I'm going to jump into parts of astrology that play a major role in who we are. So, in astrology, there are many aspects that will help you gain inner and overstanding of oneself. Okay? I like to say, a lot of times we try to understand. However, we have to understand, then we can overstand once it's in our inner. I think in order to heal those things that you have been holding on to or may have caused bouts of depression, anxiety, anxiety, anger, low self-esteem, and or fear, you should begin by learning astrology. However, focusing on 3 parts of astrology. That would be your moon sign, your ascendant sign, and the 4th house placement. And now I'm going to break down why I think those 3 things are important to you in understanding, and overstanding yourself and what makes you tick and why you react the way that you do to certain things in your life. Okay, so first, I said your moon sign. Your moon sign represents the inner you or inner self. Okay? It shapes your emotions and your soul. The moon sign is the sign the moon was in when you were born. So it takes 2 to 2.5 days for the moon to change signs. That's just how quick it goes. It also reveals your habits, reactions, and your instincts. It is our deep desires and soul urges that not everyone sees. So it's a part of us that we only allow certain people into if we feel that they're close to us. It operates like the moon cycles, wax and wane, how it's waxing and waning, basically, revealing and hiding itself. The lunar cycles can also affect how much we share or show. This sign can reveal how and who you love, or what you need to feel emotionally secure. Basically, your moon sign is your emotional personality, guys. Like I said, it's what makes you tick. It's what sets you off. It can dictate what will provide you with a sense of home and security. The moon also drives some of our gut reactions or our intuition. Remember, the moon is water. It is feminine. So we are made up of majority water, 75% water or something like that. I honestly think it could be up to 80%, as emotional as some of us get. So that is why, to me, this is a very important sign, because we know that our emotions are tied to the moon. Tied to the moon. That just made sense to me. Tied, like the tides of the water, tied to the moon. Since the moon comes out at night, it can also influence our shadow self. The shadow self forms part of the unconscious mind and is composed of repressed ideas, instincts, impulses, weaknesses, desires, perversions, and embarrassing fears. Your shadow self, I think, is something we create in order to cope with the things that we learn in our early childhood, what people say is good and bad, the morals and values, the fears that people instill in you. It is the self that you create, kind of like the Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde thing. That's what I think. Where was I? Here it goes. See how it's also where we store habits. It also made me think when I was researching this that it takes 29 days to change a habit. The moon cycles around the sun and all of the zodiac signs. The moon cycles around the earth and all the zodiac signs in about that time frame, in about 29 days. So if you really think about it, 29, 30 days, whatever, that's how long it takes for you to break a habit. So it makes sense, because your habits, habitual, are actually, I think our habits derive from our emotions, and the moon controls our emotions. All right. My moon sign is Libra, and Libra is ruled by Venus, which is, considered being vanity and those types of things. It's what you see with your 2 eyes. However, it's also, Libra is considered to be a sign of peace, love, and harmony. God is harmony. I said that in, not I said that, but the master said that in the book, Autobiography of a Yogi. Love is truly all I need in that sign. Basically, Libras, we search for the one person whose qualities and characteristics balance with ours. Hold on, this thing likes to get dim. And we're very diplomatic by nature, which goes into that whole thing of balance, because we do like balance. Libra is the scales. That's what represents that sign. And so it made a lot of sense, because as a Libra, a lot of times people treat you like you are the judge and the jury type of thing. They tell you what's going on with them, and because they know that a lot of times you'll listen and you'll be fair. Like you can be the type of person who can see both sides of the coin, and you can see that person's point a lot of times. So that makes sense to my personality. All right, the second thing is the ascendant or the rising sign. Now, the ascendant or the rising sign is the sign that's in your first house, and it is the sign that was rising. Okay, so the ascendant or rising sign is a sign that was rising over the eastern horizon when you were born. Over the eastern. Remember, the sun rises in the east and it sets in the west, so that's why it is your rising sign or your ascendant sign. Okay? It is the house of self, right? So that's why that's another important house, because it is a house literally of self. And your first house is the house of leadership. It's the house of light. It's really the house of how people see you when they first meet you. It's how you appear to people when they first meet you, because it deals with your physical person. It makes up your appearance, your attitude, and your demeanor. It gives insight into your overall persona and even the types of people you attract into your life. The rising sign is the first impression you make. The moon sign and ascendant sign are determined by your time of birth. So in order for you to know what your moon sign is and your ascendant sign is, you need to know the time of birth, not just the date. Let's see. The ascendant or rising sign changes every 2 hours. That's even quicker, guys. My ascendant sign is Cancer, which is ruled by the moon, which we know the moon is feminine, is very emotional. So Venus, feminine. The moon, feminine. And on top of that, very emotional. And so my characteristics is I am a caring empath who comes across as deeply sensitive or intuitive. Cancer rising sign style is feminine and nurturing with a touch of classic glamour, which fits me to a T, because the people I love, remember now that the moon sign and your ascendant, well, mainly your moon sign is what people see who know you. However, my ascendant sign, I could say the same thing a lot of times, because with my sisters growing up, I was always like their mother, the youngest two. And they used, like, my baby sister used to always be like, you're not my mama, you always acting like you somebody's mama. And it makes a whole lot of sense, because it's not that I'm attempting to judge them necessarily. What I'm attempting to do is to nurture them and to guide them in what I think is the right direction, and to protect them, because a mother is a nurturer. She wants to protect her children. And so even though they were my younger sisters by only 1 and 2 years, it did not matter. My inner being and who I am as a rising sun in this particular lifetime, and obviously these characteristics played a part in other lifetimes as well. It makes me want to nurture and take care of people and be a mama to almost everybody, including animals, because the 2 cats I'm watching, I have that motherly vibe with them, sometimes. So it is definitely, that's why I say it's important for you to know these things, because these things play a part in your overall personality and how you react to certain situations, to certain people, and those types of things. Now, the third and last one that I'm going to talk about, like I said, I'm talking about the 3 that I feel like will benefit you in getting to know, so you can start to tailor yourself and work on yourself in order to I was about to say the word eliminate, but basically to transmute or tailor some of the qualities and things that are not best that you need to work on. All right. I feel like, yeah, okay. The 4th house. All right. What is the 4th house? This house represents your family. It represents home, roots, history, her story, traditions, inner security, self-care, emotions, foundation. Which, remember that word, y'all, foundation. Because in my next video, I'm going to also bring up the word foundation. It represents mother, it represents children, women, and femininity. So hello, feminine, with me, with me having my moon sign in Libra, which is ruled by the planet Venus, and me having my ascendant sign in Cancer, which is ruled by the celestial body, which some people also call planet Moon or Luna. It is very, very, it basically made sense to me why my fourth house placement was a struggle for me. However, everything happens for a reason. There is no coincidence, and I know that based upon my past life, based upon my north and south nodes, that this fourth house placement was definitely put here by the stars for a reason, because I am definitely more in tune and more comfortable in my spiritual side. Okay, so after all that being said, all of these things contribute to the process of becoming the person you are. Your fourth house being your home, your family, your roots, you know what I'm saying, being your history, being your tradition, you know, being your foundation, plays a major part in who you are in this lifeline. Okay, like I said, this house is ruled by Cancer and the moon. This house brings us full circle by also addressing old age, endings, and our final resting place. This house is like the cycle of the moon. Okay? How the moon goes through the different cycles of new moon and first quarter moon, and then it's, you know, well, I won't go through all those because I actually am going to do a video on those and the types of intentions, the things you should be working on each cycle of the moon. And there are 8 cycles of the moon, which is the number 8 sign, horizontal, which is infinity. So just think about that. That is the fourth house, basically, guys. This house represents laying down roots, making a home for oneself. Our home is integrated with self and all that has come before us and helped to shape what we are today. So our home is integrated with ourself, which is shaped by everything that came before us in our traditions, in our history, in our roots, in our foundation. Okay? And we create a domestic space which comforts and nurtures us and serves to keep safe those we love. That's what your home is. Your home is supposed to be your security for you and your family, your children. You're the it's the protector, because a mother is a protector. Just think of a lion, a lioness. She is the protector of her family, of her pride, She doesn't play. That's what that fourth house is supposed to represent. Okay, where did I stop? This house is where we learn societal norms and ways of being. That's a big thing. Helping to make the home is our parents, for they nurture and shape our being. We all know that. Our environment nurtures and shapes who we are. This house is also referred to as the house of mother or nurturer. My fourth house is in Virgo. Virgo is ruled by Mercury. Okay, and Virgo is considered the virgin, which quick cool little fact, I lost my virginity when I was 20, and Virgo, the virgin, ruled by the home, okay, or represents the home, I should say. It's ruled by Mercury, which Mercury is about your communication, and that is a big thing for me because communication has always been an upward battle for me, because the Sagittarius is very blunt. That is my sun sign. And when I was younger, I just used to pop off and say whatever. And it wasn't because, you know, children don't really say things to be mean. We say things because we see things, and we say things as we see it. We don't really sugarcoat it, because we are conditioned and domesticated to sugarcoat things. However, as children, we come out just saying it. You know what I'm saying? We spit it out just as it is, you know. The whole sugar honey iced tea, you know, or I should say the honey tea, like or sugar iced tea, no get it out. Iced tea, no sugar. So, and no honey. It's not sweetened. So it may come out a little bitter to some people, because when you get to a certain age, you are conditioned to take things, what people say when it's truth, and say that it's hurtful or it hurts your feelings. And so when my older sister told me that I should watch my words and what I say, I took that to heart, because I looked up to my older sister and I wanted to be like my older sister. I admired my older sister. And that is really how I was when I was younger. And she wasn't having none of it. She really didn't want any siblings. And she did make that known to us. And however, you know, as we got older, like in our adulthood, she was the one that I actually talked to the most and had more conversations with, because, you know, she was the one that was more open to listening without her opinion sounding like a judgment, and then also giving out advice, you know, sound advice. So I appreciate her for that. She, as we became older, she played that that role of big sister better than she did at her younger age. But again, that comes through our conditioning and our environment, which I won't get into all of that. However, I give thanks to my older sister for being the advice I needed a lot of times in my older life, in my adult life. All right. Now, anywho's, I got thrown off because I was giving a big up to my older sister for the full encouragement she gave me as an adult. I was talking about Mercury and being communication, and yes, so basically, like I said, we are conditioned to, you know, filter our words. And when I was younger, I did not filter my words. They just came out just whichever way they went or whatever. You know, we as children see things, they didn't want to know what the hell is going on. That was my curiosity and who I am. That's my inner self and who I am. Just curious and pay attention to everything and communicate things as I see them. Excuse me. Next. All right. And I have Saturn in my 4th house. So one thing with having Saturn in any house, it basically is very impactful, because Saturn is a planet of discipline, of rules, of hard work, of restriction, of limitation, of boundaries, of responsibility. And that is what my household was. It was structure. That's another good word. I didn't write that down, but Saturn is structured, okay? And so Saturn is also associated with fathers or authority figures, and that is a huge conflict, because with the 4th house actually being represented and ruled by Cancer and the moon, which is the mother, the emotions, the nurture. And to have Saturn placed in my 4th house is totally the opposite. Mother and father is totally the opposite. It's the feminine and the masculine energies. And what it did is it allowed the masculine energy to overpower the feminine energy. And so, like, yeah. So it definitely confused the way that house normally operates, because remember, that house is supposed to be operating, it operates like the moon. The moon is emotional, the moon is moody, that the energy of the moon is so full of feminine energy, that Saturn being in that Saturn being placed in that house is like turning that house upside down, is what it is. And so that definitely played an impact in my childhood, because where you should be able to, where you should have that nurturer in your mother, and it should be, the household should be centered around the mother more. It was more centered around our father, and the way that he thought that child development, or being a parent should be, which is more of discipline and things that a man does. And there's nothing wrong with discipline, don't get me wrong, because everything plays its place, or has its place and plays its part. However, there was a lack in the nurture and the love. So that made that, first off, having Virgo in the 4th house, it makes it feel like there's a lack of something in the primary home, because Virgo is also very analytical, and it just makes you feel like you're missing love or approval. So I found myself always trying to feel like I needed to prove myself and be this perfect child for my parents. That was one reason why I didn't lose my virginity till I was 20. That was one reason why I used to work so hard at getting straight A's, not because for myself, not to make myself feel better, but because I wanted to make my parents proud and get their approval. And that played a big part, as well as how I am as an adult. So that's why I say that the first two, your moon sign and your ascendant sign, and the 4th house, so the moon sign, your 1st house, your ascendant sign, and your 4th house play a big part in how you became who you are, as far as, you know, some of the emotional issues that you need to work through. Because the bottom line in me talking about all this, and even talking about myself, is because it just makes you understand that everything had its reason. Me having Saturn placed in there, my father, it just proved to me that it was definitely meant to be. It was meant to be the way it was, and it was nothing negative or bad about it, because obviously in a past life I may have had something where I had a lack of discipline. Maybe I in a past life had, you know, too much nurturing and not enough discipline. So in this particular lifeline, I needed more of the disciplinary part in my 4th house. So Saturn was placed there. You see what I'm saying? So it is, I shouldn't say placed there, because it's literally when you, even though they say ascend, is literally when you descend into this particular dimension. So anyone who has Saturn placed in their 4th house, just know, or actually in your 4th house, placed in any house, it's a life-altering influence in your life. And when that means that it is, to me, that is something that you need to really dig deep inside. If you see Saturn anywhere in any house, you need to pay very close attention to why is there, because it's some lesson you need to learn. Remember, Saturn is a planet of lessons. It's teaching you something. So that's why, again, this is something that, you know, my higher self brought to me today that I needed to bring up. I know that my sole purpose is really to help others heal themselves, and helping myself heal as well, because again, I have the nurturing and naturally mothering qualities about me because of these placements. And me learning more about these placements and more about my natal chart, it allows me to be better at even doing this YouTube channel and being more confident in myself and expressing myself, because I'm literally expressing personal things about myself and sharing personal things about myself. And it's really not to bash my father or my mother or my sisters or really anybody. It's to improve me. Because if I didn't know what part, because remember guys, this is our movie. This is literally our movie, and we have certain people and actors and actresses, even though they're your family in this lifeline, they still are playing, we're all playing our parts. So I have my father who played the part. He's a very disciplinarian. My mother took on those qualities of my father as a very disciplinarian, even though she is or was in this lifeline. She was more of the playful one who played spades with us, who watched Jerry Springer with us, who will order pizza every Friday and laugh with us and joke. Like, she would shade the shit out of people. That person, she was the mother that people like, ooh, your mama cool. But she was very disciplinary. I got the most whoopings out of everybody. And it makes a lot of sense now, because with me having Saturn in that placement, discipline was something that I was meant to have. It was meant to be there in order for me to achieve the things that I need to achieve in this lifeline. So it again, like, all of this is just making me better, and I really put this out here and send this to you guys so it can also help and make you better and aid you in your journey. And I'll continue to do some other videos as I continue to explore my natal chart. I actually pulled my natal chart last year. It's been over a year. However, I didn't have a good understanding of it, and I was working on so many other things within myself that I needed to kind of like push that aside in a sense and work on these other things. And once I start developing, working on these other things, I came back to it, because like I said, it plays a part in us. Basically, it's a map. That's what it is. Your horoscope or your natal chart is a map, and you utilize that map in order to lead you to, I don't want to say your final destination, because there is no such thing. However, to lead you to your soul's purpose. Basically, it's your roadmap. So I am going to go ahead and start my next video. I thank you guys so much for your support. I thank you guys so much for your love, and I'm sending you guys out eternal love, infinite love out into the universe. Love you guys.